Loud and clear.
Sweet.
Sweet, dude. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm feeling fresh. I'm super excited to have you come on the show, man. I've really been looking forward to talking to you, dude. I just spent the last probably 20 minutes replaying your quartet on YouTube, and I gotta tell you, dude, I love it, man. I freaking love it, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm excited for people. I'm excited for you and for people to hear the new stuff. So it's some of the songs are the same on like the little demo,
Yeah,
but they're the full versions. That was just we basically took like 5 different songs and put it down to like 5.5 minutes just so I could hand it out to people and be like, here's just a handful of tunes, but you can kind of listen to everything in a couple of minutes. Whereas this is like a full blown project album, and I'm really excited. So, but thanks, man. That means a lot.
heck
That
yeah,
like
man.
you're
I
jamming to it.
freaking love it, dude. You are just so talented, man. For people out there listening that maybe don't know you, you want to give a little bit of your backstory, kind of how you got into music, because a little bit about your music. You're a freelance musician, right? And a music teacher, which is pretty freaking awesome, I think. So
Thank you. Yeah. So, it's kind of a long story. I'll try not to take too much time, but when I was younger, I used to always sing this. I used to always sing songs from Barney, like the Purple Dinosaur Barney, and always sang songs from that show. And my grandpa just loved it. And there was a song about like it. It ended with this little finger on the right or whatever about a fish and biting their fingers or whatever. And my grandpa loved it. And at the time, he owned the Meadville Livestock Auction Barn, which is the sale barn,
oh yeah,
outside of
okay.
Meadville, off 98. Yeah, and it was full of people in the arena, like where they would, sell the animals and stuff. And he set me on his lap in front of everyone and gave me the microphone. I was like 3 years old, and I sang this like song from Barney.
No kidding.
And yeah.
Dude,
So I
that's
was like
awesome.
super. Yeah, I was like super young, and that was like my first performance, I guess, which was really sweet. And then I started playing trumpet in fourth grade, but I was always singing all sorts of stuff. Like we listened to a lot of country music growing up, obviously, like where we're from.
Yeah,
So
for sure,
a
for
lot of
sure.
country and stuff like that. But my mom also had a handful of records of like Grease and Lionel Richie. And I remember the first time I pulled out Michael Jackson, the Thriller album. So he's in the white suit with the
Yeah.
tiger, and I was like, "Mom, what is this?" And we listened to the record, and shortly after that, I may have been like 10 years old, and MJ was on an episode of Alvin and the Chipmunks, and he had the red jacket, and he was dancing around these pool tables, and this was like the um, "Beat It" was the song.
Right.
I was just like, man, I don't know what's going on, but like that's the stuff right there, like the singing and dancing. So Michael Jackson was one of my first like heavy influences. Uh,
Really? That's so cool, man.
yeah,
Heck yeah.
yeah. But yeah, playing trumpet and singing since fourth grade, and then like throughout high school, we did different musicals and all sorts of stuff. So getting to do like Oklahoma and Schoolhouse Rock, and then bigger productions like Les Miserables and stuff like that, which was so much fun. And then going to college, I went to college and got both my degrees in performance and trumpet performance, and that's where I met at Mercyhurst, my undergrad. That's where I met some guys, the Monks Brew, shout out, and we that was like my first experience playing with a group of guys in like actual venues. Like we played in bars, we played at weddings. Well, I played my first festival, like the Jazz and Blues Fest in Erie. We took a trip down to Columbus and did the Columbus Jazz and Ribs Fest. And we just like I really got to kind of hone in like, oh, this is like what gigging is like. As we were 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Those like 4 years of college, like really kind of exploring, and we were writing our own songs and doing a lot of jazz covers and standards and stuff like that. And then I went to Akron, and that's where I got my master's, and that's where I met even more musicians and started to really figure out like what I wanted to do and take this Sinatra sound, this jazz sound, but kind of put a different twist on it. And I was able to play with different musicians, and that's kind of where I started to really kind of hone in on the craft and really kind of develop of what I want to do and what I want to sound like, which I think for every musician, for every artist, it's similar, but it's different, that we're always kind of trying to chase different sounds and styles and try to find like
Your
be
own, try to find your own
exactly
style, right? For sure.
yeah, be as authentic as we can. And some days I'm like, I think I have it, and then other days I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
So, but I think this album, not to get ahead of myself, but I think this album does a really good job to like conceptualize what that sound is or what it's becoming, kind of.
Heck yeah, man.
Um,
That's
and that's it. I think that's kind of the story. So,
that's awesome, dude. So you went to Mercyhurst and then you went to Akron and you finished up. You ended up getting your master's degree through Akron. Dude, that's awesome, man. So at what point did you realize like, hey, I want to kind of like teach music? You know, I want to get into, was that kind of just a branch off of that while you're still freelancing and kind of doing your own thing, or is that like a separate passion in itself?
that is mainly because of the pandemic.
Okay. All right.
Hashtag Corona-19. So originally I went to Mercyhurst as an ed major. So I went for music education, and then some things happened and I just started to really enjoy playing with these guys. And I'm like, man, performing is really what I wanted to do. And I got to be in a musical. We got to do Camelot. You know, I got to play
Cool.
Camelot in Camelot, which was like pretty cool. Or yeah, Lancelot. Yeah, it was Lancelot.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. I don't remember. But so like I knew I wanted to be on stage. I knew I wanted to do all these kind of things. But I originally started out as a teacher, and I've always liked education. I've always liked teaching kids. I enjoy like the one-on-one or the smaller group stuff because you can be more intimate. You can see where a student starts and how they progressively grow. And you can really see that growth because you're only working with one kid at a time.
Right.
When I lived in Akron, I used to sub at a music school in Aurora, and it was really cool. I'd go there once or twice a month, and I'd get to meet these kids, and we'd do like these half-hour lessons or 45-minute lessons, and you really get to see how the kids grow. And I really like that. Or even going back to my old alma mater, going back to Connie Valley, and I got to help Mr. Cameron, shout out, got to help with like, you know, that jazz band a couple times and play for the kids and kind of inspire them. Like I've always been a huge advocate in that kind of education. But long story short, when the pandemic hit, my roommate, who I'm currently living with, has friends out here in Arizona, and they called him and was like, you should get a job in Arizona. And then he called me and was like, you should get a job in Arizona. And I was like, nah, I don't know. And then after like 2 months, like the world didn't change. And I was like, maybe I should get a job in Arizona.
Right.
So packed up the car and drove out here, and everything like worked out smoothly. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than I thought it would be. Like I knew it would be tough and I knew it would be fun, but like it's shout out to all the teachers that really, you know, all the teachers now, current teachers that have been teaching for 20, 30 years, like God bless your souls, because it is so much work. And the way that times are changing with technology and kids and like just the evolution of everything.
You mean like in the aspect of teaching itself? I mean, because, you know, I'm sure it's definitely a lot more difficult to try to teach playing trumpet when you're over virtual than in person, you know?
Yeah. And that I'm not even like a band teacher either. I'm teaching like general music. So from kindergarten up to 8th grade, I'm kind of teaching whatever standards I pull if I want the kids to learn notation and how to read music. Or I kind of built like a Bach to rock, like a history kind of class where we started with, you know, Bach, and then we went up to like Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson and some of those guys, and just teaching different bands and the significance of it. And, you know, some kids have never heard this music before. So it's really cool to kind of be that person that gets it in their ears. And then other people, you know, are like, oh my gosh, this is like a Halloween movie, and it's Bach. So it's 400 years old. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that. Like that stuff's kind of cool, but it's very, very challenging. And I actually signed a second year, so it looks like I'm going to be in Arizona one more year.
Oh, no kidding. How do you like it down there? I mean, I've never been west of, I think, like Chicago. I think that's the farthest west I've been. So what's the culture like down there? Is it very music oriented, or is that, did I pronounce that right? I don't know, but
oriented, I think.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's hot. It's just hot. Like right now, it's 103.
Oh my!
And it's May, so it'll get I'll be leaving next week to come back home for a little bit. But like, yeah, in the summer, it's 115, 117. It gets pretty toasty. But it's really cool. It's dry out here. Like the humidity is very low, so it just feels like you're in an oven, kind of, or like a hair dryer.
Right.
It's just like there's no moisture. You don't feel sticky. It's just
Oh
heat.
man. We
But
had our
like,
hottest day up here today, man. I think today was the hottest day of the year up here. It was
what
just,
was it?
it was like, I think it had like 87 or 88, something like that. It was just ridiculous. The dog and I were like sweating like crazy all day, just,
And it's sticky.
yeah,
It's
dude,
sticky.
that's the worst part, the humidity, man.
But even out here, like, even though it's like a dry heat, it's still freaking hot. Like 115 degrees. Like, I don't care if it's dry. It's still freaking
I
hot.
can imagine, man.
But I'm just slowly now starting to get to know some musicians. Like, I just went to my first jazz club just a couple weeks ago to check some stuff out because things have been closed. And now that they're starting to open up, kind of trying to meet some people and see some shows. And it was a really good show. Really tight, really cool guys. A little older, maybe like their 40s or 50s, but like really good people, really down to earth. Like,
yeah.
so that was really cool. And I kind of met this one dude, like this one singer, and he had an awesome voice and just a really good guy. So I'm excited to kind of get to know more of these guys out here and see some more shows. But it looks like Phoenix and Scottsdale, there is a lot going on. And because of the weather, because it is nice out here, it's constantly like people are always like performing outside and outdoors. And there's a lot to do, a lot of hiking. I got into hiking recently.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, even yoga. I tried yoga for the first time, and like I kind of do that every now and then. Arizona's kind of changed me a little, Kenny.
Dude, that's good, man. I see a few of your posts on Facebook and stuff, kind of getting into yoga, doing like some healthier eating and stuff, man. And that's totally awesome, dude. I love it, man. I think it's awesome. You getting out and meeting these people, and I know it was a couple years ago, but I saw your one picture. You had a run in with Henry Winkler, dude. Dude, how was that, man? How was that, man?
Oh man, that's funny. I was on my way to Los Angeles for the first time. So I was in 2018, I was in Alabama for a theme park gig. So I was down there playing trumpet, and one of the kids was a trombone player, and he lived in Los Angeles. And we kind of hit it off, and he was like, man, I'm putting on my recital, my senior recital, and you should come out and play for it. I was like, sweet. So we got it all hooked up, and it was over Easter that year. So it was over Easter of like 2019, I think. And I flew out over Easter weekend, and I'm like chilling in the Cleveland airport. And I ran into two friends that day too.
Okay.
We were just like walking. We ran into each other. We're like, what do you do? They're like, we're going to see San Fran, or maybe they were going to LA too. I don't know. So we chatted for them. And then I'm just like chilling in the lobby, and I like look over at this older looking gentleman, and I just couldn't stop staring. And I'm like, that looks like the Fonz.
Oh, no way, dude.
For like 5 minutes, yeah. And then all of a sudden, someone went over there and shook his hand, and I'm like, that's the freaking Fonz. So before it got crazy, I kind of like snuck over there. It was just like, Mr. Winkler, like, man, I'm a big fan. Like, I've seen a lot of your movies, and like, it's kind of surreal that you're in Cleveland. Like, why are you in Cleveland? Just out of curiosity. He's like, I write children's books. I was like, oh, wow. And he's been writing children's books for years, which I felt like an idiot because I'm like, how long have you been doing that for? And he's like, long time, kid.
Okay.
Want to get that picture? And I was like, yeah, like I'll stop bothering you. Cause like, they doesn't want to be bothered, but
hey, for sure.
I don't want to be the guy that just took a picture and ran away. But I was just like, yeah, he writes like all these children's books. So I got online and like got on Google and like checked it out. And I was like, man, he's got like a lot of children's books. And he was giving a seminar or a speech or something in Cleveland, Ohio, and then just flying back to Los Angeles.
Dude, that's
snuck it.
Awesome. Heck yeah! What an awesome thing, dude. Meet the Fonz, man.
Yeah,
I saw that picture, and that was cool, man.
That was the first time I had that picture for like 2 years, or over. Yeah, I think it was like 2 years, and that was the first time I posted it. And I was like, man, I need to do something with this. But yeah, that's the Harry Winkler picture, or the Harry Winkler story.
Dude, that's great, man. I love it. Listening to your music, I definitely get that Frank Sinatra vibe. And I love Frank Sinatra. I'm a huge fan of Frank Sinatra. Do you find yourself, like, do you listen to like different kinds of music, or, how do I want to put the question here? Um, has your taste in music changed as you practice more and play more in front of live audiences? Do you find yourself gravitating towards different genres and incorporating those into your music, or do you kind of stay on the same genre?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. So like I was saying, like growing up, it was a lot of country stuff. But I also went through a big, man, I was listening to like Usher and Chris Brown and Neo, like those guys. I don't know if it was because of the dancing too, but something like about that like R&B kind of hip hop stuff. Like I think it's the groove of it, and I've always loved that stuff. Um, and then I really didn't get on Sinatra until later. Like I was kind of more in like high school and stuff. I was listening to Michael Bublé was actually the first guy. I think I was like a freshman. I was like ninth grade in high school when I got introduced to Michael Bublé, who was kind of like the more modern of Sinatra, taking that big band sound and just kind of modernizing it. And I really liked it. I really liked the whole idea of singing with the big band. And then when I got to play with the Monk's Brew in college, that's where I noticed like playing with combos and smaller groups that you had more room to kind of improvise and wing things and kind of create things differently because you didn't have a big band. The music wasn't written out note for note with the big band. Like you had a lot of liberties to kind of just develop it and let's just see where this goes. And through that, you kind of start developing different sounds. And to this day, like even in the jazz world, there's Michael Bublé and the older guys like Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. But then you have guys like Kurt Elling and guys like Gregory Porter and a cat named Jamie Cullum, who is England. He's a British guy. These guys all are like jazz guys, but they all have a different sounds. Like Gregory Porter's got this big soulful voice. Like you can tell he's raised in the church. So you can take that and be like, oh, I like this stuff. And you take from that. And Jamie Collins got this certain like timbre, this sound of his voice. And you just kind of take all these different pieces and mix together. I don't do a lot of writing. That's something that I'm not real comfortable with. Mm-hmm. I get like ideas and I try to like, put them down on my phone, like voice memo and record them. And recently I've like sent them out to some friends and they're like, oh, I see what you're trying to do. Like, let's do something with this. And it's just because of all the different stuff I listen to. So definitely a lot of jazz, but every artist sounds different and can sound different. There's a group called Brass Tracks. It started out with just trumpet and drums. And now they're like, and he's like a jazz musician. Right. But they play all sorts of stuff, and they play with like backing tracks and stuff, and live horns and like horn lines and rappers and singers and just there's just so much music out there and so much inspiration and the different notes and grooves and melodies that you can take and just be like, oh, okay, and then you kind of just start developing things yourself. I don't know if that answers your question. I think I was just rambling.
No,
I listen to a lot.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's perfect. How often do you like, with your busy schedule and everything you got going on, do you practice a lot, or is it something that because you're a teacher, you don't really need to practice too much because you're constantly kind of doing it? Is it one of those types of things, or do you have like a band that you guys get together, and play and
yeah. So when I was back home and I was like freelancing and gigging a lot more, mm-hmm. I was playing a lot more. So that kept me in shape. Just the fact that I had like gigs like most of the weekends. Yeah. I was playing most weekends, but that I like had to keep playing during the week too. Cause I'm one of those guys where if I'm not playing every day, like I can tell. My chops and my voice too. Like if I'm not warming up and doing my exercises, like I can tell my voice gets tired real fast. My chops get tired real fast. The beginning of the year when like things were online, I had a little more free time. So I was able to play more. Right. And before the recording, I was like trying to play as much as I could because I knew when I flew back home, I wouldn't be able to play on the plane and stuff like this. And then I'd have a couple of days of like kind of recouping and stuff like that. So I wanted to be in top-notch shape for the album. And I did a pretty good job of that. But now with like school coming to an end, it's really hard. It's like, it's difficult because like, you know, sometimes I'll be at the school for like 10 hours or something
Right.
by the
There's just
time,
so
you
much
know,
going on.
yeah. And then by the time you get home, like, you know, you're tired and all this stuff, but like, you have to do it. I take care of my voice. Like that's my primary. So if I have a choice between singing and playing trumpet, I'll pick singing or just something with this just to take care of it.
Right.
Uh, so I've been kind of putting the trumpet on the back burner. But when I release this, when I come home and I release the album in June, I'm 95% singing. So there's a chance that I might not even play the trumpet for the show. But like these next couple of weeks, I'll be hitting it hard just in case. But
For sure. Heck yeah, man.
it's hard to find the balance, and that's the thing too, man, because I think about like I have a pretty structured schedule. So finding the time to do it, like I should be able to do that, because hopefully when things get more busy with the playing, you know, like you have to, it's discipline. You have to stay on top of things, or else like it goes, and then
Yeah,
people
man.
can tell like
You don't use it, you lose it, you know?
exactly. Yeah, I'm a
For,
very firm believer of that because
for
it
sure.
happens to me.
Uh,
So, but it is hard.
you know, how are you planning on rolling out the album? Are you doing a live performance rolling out? Is that how you're planning on doing it? Or is it you know, are you gonna
Yeah,
release it on Spotify? Am I gonna be able to find it on Spotify, dude?
soon. Not right now though, because the idea is we put a lot of time into it. Like the guys came in for 2 days to record stuff, and we did all that, and then I laid down vocals afterwards, and they came back and actually helped mix and master and stuff like that. We spent, you know, 40 hours or so, 30-40 hours in the studio kind of putting stuff together, and
Wow.
had to go back on separate occasions to kind of finish things up too. And because so much work has gone into it, I kind of want to stick with physical copies for a little bit before I release Spotify and Apple and all that stuff. That's the plan. As far as releasing it goes, the release party, celebration, date, show, whatever you want to call it, is on Friday, June 4th at 8 o'clock. And I made a couple posts about it. I'll probably make another one tomorrow of like where people can find tickets and stuff. But it's actually in Akron, Ohio, since that's kind of like my second home. I have a lot of friends down there and a decent following. I thought Akron would be kind of the place to do it. And everyone on the album are all Ohio. They're either Cleveland or Akron. So it just felt right to put it there.
Yeah.
And it'll be a live show. It's at the night stage. It's kind of inside of the Civic Center right on Main Street in Akron. And it's kind of a smaller venue, so it'll be, I've never seen it, but just from what I've heard, it's very new, and it's a smaller venue, so it'll be kind of like intimate and very special and personal, which is like totally my vibe. So I'm really excited about that. I wanted to, at first, I kind of wanted to do a live show and then maybe stream it as well for the folks that couldn't come. But it's just like, all of that becomes a lot of money.
For sure, dude. It
Like
definitely
every step you do, you know, because you can't just set up a phone, and I mean you could,
right.
but you know,
It's there's a lot more to it than just
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So I think for this one, I think it's just going to be a, you know, whoever gets a ticket and whoever wants to be there. It's very limited. Tickets are limited, so whoever shows up, like that's going to be the party, and it'll be very personal. And then after that, I'm thinking about recording some of that. So we'll see. But yeah, it'll be a live show. I'm very, very excited.
Heck yeah, man. Are you nervous at all? Do you used to get nervous going up in front of people? Like, you know, like your first time getting on stage in front of everybody looking out there, man. Was that like super nerve wracking, or are you just like, whatever, just, you know?
It depends. I was a lot less nervous in high school. And I think that's just because, like, for whatever reason, I used to be able to memorize like whole shows, like people's lines too. So we would, for instance, like 8th grade, Oklahoma, we'd go out on stage, and if someone forgot a line, I was like I remembered everyone's lines. Yeah. And I don't know how it happened, dude. I don't know if it was just because I was obsessed with it, or I loved it so much that I just read everything and I was constantly listening to it. I had a lot of confidence that I was just like, the show cannot go wrong because I won't let it go wrong.
Right.
I had like this mentality. And then I got to college, and like, you know, you get around better players and better musicians, and you're like,
crowds
Oh
get a
shit,
little
like
bigger, it's
they're
not just
yeah, they're
everybody's mom and dad out there,
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
But like nerves are good though because they keep you on your feet.
sure.
But it's like they're good nerves. And like right now, I haven't performed in front of anyone for such a long time, being out in Arizona and like with COVID and everything. Like I haven't been on an actual stage in a very long time. So like I know I'll be nervous
Oh,
and
heck
like,
yeah, dude.
and
That's
I
so
might even say
exciting,
it,
man. Dude,
you know,
that's so freaking awesome though, man. That's so
but
awesome.
they keep you on your toes. I think it was Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett said nerves are good because it means you care. If you don't get nervous, then like you should kind of be concerned because then that's when you start just not caring whether you suck or not. Essentially, that's
Yeah,
not what he said,
essentially.
but
Yeah, I get what, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, dude. It absolutely makes
mhm.
sense. So, dude, that's freaking awesome, man. That's awesome. So you're gonna have physical albums like for sale at the venue.
Yeah, yeah, we're
Okay.
actually this process is taking a little longer than I thought just because it's my first time doing this and there's like so many small details and there are ways you can do it and some backdoor stuff or back alley stuff and
Right.
I really want to do things right the first
Absolutely,
time.
man.
So
Absolutely.
I've taken my time to do all the proper procedures and stuff like that. And for anyone listening, so I don't get sued or anything like that. Like I'm doing things the right way. So yeah, things are going to be ordered like now actually, and we'll have them for the show for the 4th, as long as nothing gets lost in the mail.
Right. So you doing like t-shirts and stuff and as well, man, or what? You doing like
that
autograph?
that might be that might be in the kind of in the future. I've always liked the idea of t-shirts.
Hmm.
I don't know what I would put on something yet. I'm still thinking about that. But for sure it's the album. And I also actually we got some videos and pictures and snaps of the recording process too. So
Wait.
the 2 days that we were in the studio, I had a buddy come in and he filmed it and recorded it and stuff. So there's going to be like a behind the scenes too.
Dude,
So I'd
that's
like to kind
freaking
of
awesome.
throw that together. And I don't know exactly how to package it, but if people are interested, it'd be cool to do like, here's the album and here's the behind the scenes to the album. And I haven't even seen it yet. But I've heard that it's starting to look really cool and I'm very excited to see it. So that's an
Oh, man.
option too, or it could potentially be an option where you kind of get both of them.
I'm excited as well,
But
man.
yeah. And then
For,
someday t-shirts.
for the people that aren't going to be able to make it, are they going to be able to buy the album directly from you, from online, from a website, anything like that? Or is it going to be kind of in person
Yeah,
only?
yeah. So obviously I'll be home for the summer. So like any friends and family that is like driving distance, I could totally I'll probably just hand off a lot or like however we do that, drive to people's houses and personally hand them out. Or like I've already had some people message me about stuff and probably just get addresses and then I can throw it in the mail and just ship it off too. And might charge an extra buck or two for
Right.
shipping
Yeah,
and
no big
hopefully
deal.
people understand that.
I think
But
that's fair
and
enough.
then I'm still trying to figure out the website thing too because I know I have friends that have websites and they send stuff through websites, so I just need to figure out that too. If it gets to that point, that'd be great. If it gets to the point where I can't keep up with stuff and people have to order from a website, which is in the process of being built, and then that just kind of takes care of it. That
Dude,
would be cool.
I'm totally confident that it will. You know what I mean? Honestly, you are such a talented musician, man. And I know one thing at a time, one goal at a time. Your focus is on the show coming up. But have you thought anything about beyond that, beyond the summer? The future. Have you thought about doing traveling and being a traveling musician full time?
Yeah, that's been the dream for a long time. I know it's like each year you kind of get a little older, so you kind of get. Well, I don't know, like the whole. Let me back up a little bit. The whole steady paycheck and benefits and stuff. I think that's great, and I'm very much enjoying a steady paycheck. I think that's awesome. At the same time, I'm totally willing to risk and yeah, travel and do the freelance thing because that's really what I want to do, and that's why I kind of signed a second year out here because the world is still kind of a
Yeah.
little funky and we're not there yet. But I can definitely see after that. I know like the guys, when people hear this music, the guys that are on this album are like they're phenomenal, like they're top notch, like some of the best musicians. Like they're very incredible, and the music will speak for itself. And I would love to take this group and just go, city to city, state to state, and just go to different venues and perform the show of all sorts of
Absolutely,
music and stuff
man.
like that. So to answer your question, Kenny, yes, I'm very
Yeah, man.
optimistic. I'm very positive that
Dude, I hope
that
you
will
do, man.
happen.
I hope you do, man. And I'm gonna get like a VW van, and I'm just gonna follow you guys around, dude. That's so cool, dude. That's so
That was
awesome.
that. Thank you.
Heck yeah. Um, I think that's really all questions I got for you, man. I didn't have a whole lot written down here for tonight, but I really appreciate you coming on the show, man, and taking time to speak with me, dude, because I love it, man. I've really been looking forward to it, man. Really been looking
Thanks,
forward to
man.
it.
This was a lot of fun. This was actually my first podcast, or my first, being a part of something like this. This is my first one. So I'm so happy I got to share it with you, Kenny.
Heck yeah, man. It was
This
a
is
lot of
awesome.
fun, dude. And if you want to after tomorrow or sometime, send me a link. I'll put it in the bottom of the video where people can find tickets and just general information or whatever about your music and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. Like I said, I'm probably gonna make a post sometime tomorrow. And but yeah, I'll send you whatever you need, man. You just let me know.
Awesome, dude. Awesome.